Hello everyone and welcome to Game 3 in a best of 7 series between MMA and Lucira. Game 3 taking place here on Typhon Peaks. Lucira spawning as the red Zerg player on the top left hand side of Typhon Peaks. Meanwhile, we have MMA spawning as the blue Terran player on the top right hand side. So far, if you guys are watching the games in order, as you should, MMA and Lucira have split the games and is now tied at 1 game apiece. MMA doing a very convincing job on Shakura's Plateau, making it look like a Terran favored map, using the high ground and those plateaus on Shakura's Plateau to his benefit, being able to remotely detonate banelings with the help of a Crucio shock cannon. We'll see what MMA and Lucira tries to go for in this particular matchup. These players are now playing their 3rd game against each other, so they should be feeling each other out. They should probably know what type of player the other player is and be playing against the player in addition to playing against their race. Lucira currently seen on 14/18 food, continuing to just train up a lot of drones, and we'll see if he tries to go for a fast expansion or if he goes for an early extractor and spawning pool. Lately, what I believe I've seen from him is expansion gas, which would normally mean expansion speedlings, and we'll see whether or not that is true this time around. Meanwhile, MMA not going for the marine pressure that is so often in the Zelnaga Caverns, as Typhon Peaks is rather large map, instead going for a refinery after barracks, so that means he should be getting in some blue flame hellions or just be trying to go for that straight up marine tank play, which is so common. Hatchery has been placed down by Lucira. That means that an extractor, or yes, an extractor will be next, followed by a spawning pool. So Lucira not deterring from his very comfortable Zerg versus Terran strategies. It worked out once for him already. He doesn't see a need to change it. Now, coming back over here, the supply depot will be built down, and I'm a little curious as to the placement on the supply depot. The supply depot is actually a little bit further back than right up against the ledge right there. Not quite sure. Perhaps he wants to make sure that the roaches need to come up the ramp a little bit more in order to get that damage, as this supply depot is maybe easier to snipe down based upon positioning. And I am wrong. So MMA opting to go for a tech lab and now a Reaper. So I don't know if this is going to be a typical Reaper expansion. It does look like that could be the case, as we are now getting into almost 400 minerals. The Reaper does take a long time to build, and that is actually one of the benefits for the Reaper expansion. Balance out the long build time and its low mineral costs by building up a command center. That Reaper should be able to get a decent amount of damage, sniping down drones in 3 shots, sniping down Zerglings in 2. That one Reaper going to be able to finish that unit off there rather easily, and now building a factory. So I like this play. One Reaper already making its way out, and as soon as the drone was able to scout out the tech lab on the factory, swapping it, or the tech lab on the barracks, swapping it out, changing up the strategy, and now just putting as much pressure down with this one Reaper that he possibly can. The Reaper now going to be able to jump into here, over here, and will he be able to get that much damage? And now trying to go after those Zerglings. One Zergling now down, a second Zergling almost taken down as well, as those Zerglings are waiting for that metabolic boost. Down over here, we do have a Queen. That Queen should be able to go toe-to-toe, as an Overlord now flying its way in will see this barracks, but he does not know that this is a completely second barracks, and MMA going for a triple command center at the 5-minute mark in this game. And MMA known to do this strategy already. I believe he did it in game 1 on Tall Dream Altar, deciding to go for additional command centers. And even though you can oversaturate your bases rather quickly, what you can do is you can use the command centers like additional supply depots, expensive supply depots, but also call down those mules. And those mules allow a Terran player to run off of 2 bases as though he was running off of 3. And that is one of the ways that the Terran player can really balance out the fact that he is not expanding nearly as quickly as the Zerg. The Reaper currently sitting on 2 kills. We are getting a lot more Marines still being queued up here. This one orbital command now swapping locations, not quite sure why, but that was actually a pretty convincing play by Kempinski play lifting it up and then landing it right there. It looks like he will be landing it down over here in just a moment. The siege tank is going to be sieging up right there, and that will allow him to start protecting damage, protecting itself against those Zerglings that try to deal any damage at the cost of some own splash damage. But the Zerglings now gonna do a flank, so this is very interesting as well. And you can see that the Reaper now down over here, already getting up to 3 kills, taking down a couple Zerglings. There is one siege tank here. Another siege tank needs to be trained up. And once that second siege tank is trained up, it needs to siege up rather quickly in order to be able to take down the Banelings. Siege up rather quick. Is it going to actually help out in time? The Banelings, are they going to get detonated? One Baneling is down, and now this is a problem as the Banelings are now going after a couple of those Marines. One siege tank up on the high ground as this Baneling not able to find that many targets. The Zerglings now going after those units there. This one supply depot is rather low on hit points, needs to be repaired. Some SCVs getting caught in the splash damage. Crossfire SCV over here, and that is definitely helping out this one siege tank, finishing off that one Zergling and one tank with already 22 kills. Looking pretty happy and pretty impressive there. The siege tank now going to siege up over here as well. Should be able to cover off this front door. The Zerglings, got to remember that this supply depot is not MMAs, so it does not actually reveal anything at all. Zerglings now trying to make a run for it, unable to do so, and the Marines really need to make come down into this location and try to protect those SCVs. Taking a look at the losses, both sides losing about the same amount. Harvester count though 19 compared to 43. And this is where Lucira may overplay his hand and think that he is very much in the lead. You can see production-wise, MMA training off of 3 orbital commands, calling down 3 meals at a time, and with that, we'll be able to easily catch up in terms of the economy as soon as those meals are starting to effectively mine. I believe it should be somewhere within the 1,000 to 1,200 resource range based upon those mules. The 3 mules mining very effectively, essentially like 75% off of a base. There's another mule down over here, so mining with 4 mules, those mules will deplete the mineral patches much more quickly. But I don't think MMA cares at all. He needs to get back into this game in order to take it. He does have the larger army at this point, so he does not really have to worry about Lucira coming in with a very large attack force. Lucira running off of what will be 4 hatcheries and now teching the tier 2. So Lucira very happy, but he is not upgrading the weapons or claw weapons upgrade at all, and that's one of the things I would wish Lucira would do at this time. Try to press every advantage that he can get. And there you go, finally going into that claw attack upgrade. That Reaper, just very cute, sitting at the high ground, able to deal some damage towards those Zerglings, picking them off one at a time. That one Reaper is sitting on that high ground and already sitting up to 8 kills. It just needs to jump back up and down whenever he sees that swarm of Zerglings now come in. Zerglings now making their way back over. Drones now coming over as well. Should be able to start mining away here as Lucira is sitting on a 62 to 40 one harvester difference. But income wise, yes, this is the story. MMA is almost tied, never mind, as Lucira now finally transferring drones over to this set of mineral patches and looking pretty there. We are getting more units out. We should be getting a reactor there. More SCVs are coming into play as well. 70 harvesters versus 44, but MMA really mining with a lot of units at this stage in the game. And now the Marines and siege tanks doing a push out, and it looks like a bunker going to be placed over here. The Zerglings are going to be able to spot this. Yes, able to spot this now, and this is going to be a definite issue that the siege tanks will be able to start positioning themselves very easily up on that high ground, getting some damage onto those drones. And with one bunker here, and now the Marines able to push in some damage over here. Yeah, and Lucira going to start losing many of those drones as the Zerglings will not be able to come in that easily at all. There are a lot of siege tanks in the backfield, making sure to try to protect that back location. One bunker and fending off all of these Zerglings, but the Banelings perhaps could try to make a run for it as well. Siege tank now slowly pushing its way in. This one command center now taking a fair amount of damage as well. Only one Marine in each bunker. A nice place to try to hide as the Zerglings now coming in, trying to swarm around. And I believe all the Zerglings are simply just going to get taken down. The siege tank did do a little bit of friendly splash damage there, but it looks like it has been handled. The Banelings now trying to make a roll by here, but will not be able to do so. The siege tanks will be able to shut down 3 at a time as the Banelings trying to suicide against the bunker, and somehow the Marines able to finish it off. This bunker needs to be repaired as well, but the Marines and siege tanks are still slowly doing this push in. Lucira needs to take another expansion, perhaps this expansion here. After taking down these sets of destructible rocks, a swarm of Zerglings now making their way in. Marines and siege tanks are now going to be bunkering up. Marines trying to battle it out. Down goes one siege tank there, and now the rest of those banelings going after the rest of those Marines. The Marines are trying to stim back, able to do so. The bunkers are now in a problematic position as one baneling finds 5 Marines, and the rest of this army has been easily taken care of. Oh, a baneling landmine set up there, as there are now some siege tanks on the low ground. Baneling landmine set up there, and it looks like Lucira should be able to take down any transitioning units with relative ease. And now a Zergling, walking by a baneling, almost accidentally getting his friend killed there, as a Zergling is now once again trying to engage, trying to put forth and deal more damage. Zergling is now coming in, able to get some damage in. The Zerglings are going to be able to swarm in. The supply depots were not down. MMA now in trouble as a sea of Zerglings running rampant through his base. Now going to take down some of the SCVs over here, but a lot of the SCVs have already been transferred across the rest of the map, as the Marines able to finish this off. Zerglings now pecking apart the rest of the SCV mineral resource line here. And MMA once again with superior harvester counts. And taking a look at the losses, just so much losses on both sides. Zerglings once again going to be swarming in, getting more damage here, but it doesn't look like Lucira really has enough of an army to really fight back. That is a definite problem. The Queen gonna get taken down to 21 hit points. Being able to survive with the help of some Zerglings, as the Marines are just coming back across. MMA still with the larger army, and Lucira really needs to ramp up his production. He has never had the larger army, and because of that has really never been able to capitalize on anything at all. And the Queen now trying to fight back over here. One Marine with level 1 weapons upgrade fighting against an Overlord. The Zerglings should be able to come in with relative ease. Mutalists are now finally being trained, as the mules are starting to mine away at this location. Production-wise, finally getting some more SCVs once again. MMA has to be very careful where he steps out. There are a couple Marines and medevacs over here trying to just contain Lucira onto his current 3 bases. And Lucira perhaps needs to expand. 16 Mutalists in production. And now Lucira should be able to push out with relative ease, as this expansion is going to get taken down. The Mutalists may not be able to get there in time. Perhaps if they try to go after the medevac first. The medevac now down. The Marines ripe for the picking, and down they go. With these missile turrets, the missile turrets may actually be able to reveal those banelings once they get sight up onto that high ground. There are still 2 banelings here, as those Marines, the Marines simply walking by and able to ignore it. There you go, Marines also able to actually gain sight over there just enough, as the medevac once again underway, now trying to move out. Zerglings now chasing down after that group of Marines on the move, as Vikings are now hunting for Overlord. So Overlord hunting is in season. Going to come across this one Overlord here. Marines are making sure that there are no additional expansions in play. And as soon as MMA sees that there are not that many expansions in play, he has to feel that this game is still pretty even. Lucira does have a very strong army now, and now trying to push in, but so many Marines. Down goes that one missile turret, or that one medevac, and now those Marines also getting picked apart. And now Lucira just simply doing a flyby straight into the base, looking to get a lot of damage onto those SCVs, getting in so much damage already. The Marines are now going to be trying to swarm in, able to pick off, and it looks as though this swarm of Mutalists will be on the defensive once again. MMA is going to stim in, perhaps try to snipe down this hatchery over here. There is nothing defending it, nothing guarding it. The Marines are upgraded 1-1 with 2-1 upgrades underway, and this hatchery will get shut down before any mining really takes place. The Zerglings now really need to try to take down those rocks, but too many Zerglings are just simply suiciding their way in from that high ground. Only 1-2 siege tanks were destroyed in that engagement there, and that was a complete mishandle. Zerglings now running down over here. Banelings arriving to the party late, as the drones are now starting to do some long distance mining. An Overlord perhaps should try to set up some creep here, and making sure that any of these spine crawlers do not start to take damage. Mutalists are now trying to swarm in here. Zerglings now trying to push their way in, but MMA in such a defensive posture with so many siege tanks. That siege line is just so difficult to break through. Marines now once again making their way in. The spine crawler should get taken down with no problems. The Zerglings now trying to come in from the back, perhaps rebuilding of that spine crawler. Mutalisk now coming in as well. Baneling's gonna find their target with relative ease, and the Mutalisk laughing at the fact that the medevac tried to pick up those Marines. Marines once again on the counterattack over here, trying to push out, cleaning up those creep tumors. Army-wise, much stronger mineral army for MMA, much slightly stronger gas army by Lucira with those Mutalisks. The Mutalisks are upgraded, no, not upgraded at all against those 1-1, almost 2-1 upgraded Mutalisks, or Marines, as those Marines are now fighting back. Banelings would have been able to surround that target with relative ease. Siege tanks now coming in. The Banelings need to take down the missile turrets, and if they're able to take down the missile turrets, unable to take down the orbital command as it lands just in time. Yeah, that was just brilliant play by MMA. I think the Banelings wanted to suicide their way in, but now we're going to get a drop into the base over here. So MMA with his crazy drops and Marines taking down multiple Overlords. Marines are just going to be able to stim in, get a lot of damage. 16 Marines ripe for the stimming, but not engaging just quite yet as the siege tanks and the Mutalisks battling out over here. Medevacs just hanging around close by. Zergling's going to get taken down. Finally, in comes this push. The spawning pool going to get taken down. No more Zerglings for a little bit of time there, as the Marines are now perhaps going to go after the Baneling's Nest and maybe even the Evolution Chamber, taking down key critical tech. The Baneling's Nest is now already starting to bleed. Down it goes as the Marines are now finishing off the rest of the Zerglings here. The medevacs are going to get destroyed as the Mutalisks once again laugh at the medevacs trying to pick up and save those friendly units. And now we are going to have a drop over here. So Lucira once again dropping into a different position with superior units. The Queen now trying to come over, and the Queen now going to be in a bit of trouble as the Marines now pulling back over here. So MMA with very impressive drop micro, and now dropping everywhere across the map. The drones are in full retreat, and MMA now taking away the one advantage Lucira had, his economic advantage. And now MMA also having the superior army advantage as well. And this is really starting to hurt MMA. Able to just shut down Lucira so easily. Mutalisk now trying to take down this one missile turret. Down it goes. SCVs are now ripe for the picking once more. It doesn't look like those units, those SCVs will be able to mine much longer, as those Mutalisks are now backing off. A swarm of Marines over here. 2-2 upgrades versus 0-0. And that is the issue. Those Mutalisks only dealing 7 damage per attack when the Marines are dealing 8. And the Marines also fire much more quickly, even if you do not account for stim pack. The Mutalisk once again trying to fly back down over here. Another hatchery needs to be set up over here, but I believe MMA is going to take this game. He has the food advantage, he has the momentum, and running off of 3 bases and with a lot of mules just really working out for him very well. The Marines now once again pushing out. The medevacs are low on energy. Another wave of scanner sweeps, and all of these creep tumors will get destroyed. Long distance mining, walk of shame coming in as the Marines should be able to finish off the rest of these Zerglings and these drones. The Queen now trying to make its way over, quickly getting destroyed. And yeah, 2-2 upgraded Marines against anything that's unupgraded is just not a fair fight at all. The Mutalisk trying to shut down the siege tanks will be able to do so, but the Marines there to protect, there to finish off the rest of those Mutalisks there. The Mutalisk trying to back off, and now once again another fresh wave of units on the move. The spawning pool was completed, and now the Baneling's Nest trying to be rebuilt. It's just slowly but surely taking down Lucira's tech. And knowing that Zerglings and Banelings would not be able to be trained for quite some time really is what did him in, as the Mutalisk cannot counter these Marines. All those Marines are in the red. But you have to remember one additional thing. One of the reasons why 0-0 Mutalisk versus 0-0 Mutalisk versus 2-2 Marines, one of the differences is that glaive worm bounce also does 1 less damage each. So before the bounce damage against 0 armor is 931, but against armored units becomes 711. So essentially you're reducing the amount of damage that a Mutalisk does by 4. And that is the reason why that Mutalisk chain splash damage, that glaive worm splash damage, which is so important against those Marines, just didn't work well at all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed Game 3 in this series. I will be casting the rest of the games a little bit later, as my hard drive is now getting full. I need to start encoding. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.